So our friend of the show, Peter Moore, star of Podcast Unlocked 201, the best episode I'll ever do.
Yeah.
He was speaking to IGN, and he's not a big fan of remasters, which means he is welcome on this show anytime. How do you feel about? Are you a remaster guy, Nathan, or do you find them creatively bankrupt and you want to?
Again, if you're a fan and like I think making statements that tell people what they want is just incorrect in general. And saying like, no, you don't want a remaster. Like maybe like I wanted PS4 Journey and then I bought it and I played it and I was very happy to have had it. I think if something is big enough to grow a fan base,
but you don't get frustrated that those development resources could have been maybe put into making a new thing.
I don't think we get to decide that necessarily.
We can complain about it.
No, we can't. We can't for sure.
But you're right. Peter Moore does.
Yeah. Right. No, that's very true though. That's very true. Kudos to him for saying it how it is.
I mean, that is
not a waffle answer.
I should give the quote. I actually stopped myself short. Yeah. So Peter Moore was talking to IGN and he said it feels that remasters, quote, feel like pushing stuff out because you've run out of ideas. Remakes, because of who we are, he's referring to EA, and this broad portfolio of intellectual property, you add all that together, I don't know where we find the time to do remakes, Peter Moore said. We're a company that just likes to push forward. So
he's speaking about EA.
He's speaking about EA. Yeah. Don't look for any... Now, EA has not done remasters, and don't look for them to do it anytime soon, according to Peter Moore.
That's a good philosophy. I mean, we've talked a lot on this show extensively about remakes, and I think we're all kind of in agreement that, like, if it came down to it, we would rather prefer new properties as opposed to remasters of old ones. But if you look at the market, people buy those remasters. They want to play those games on their new consoles, and that's why they keep getting made. And you can't argue against what is just economic supply and demand. You know? Like it's just what it is. What it is.
Like, find a partner. Like you don't have to take your resources off of a cool brand new game.
That is true. I mean, 343 had what's their face, Saber and a certain Affinity do a lot of the Master Chief collection. I think Bluepoint did the Uncharted collection.
Developer. Bluepoint, and they did Journey, and they did like a whole bunch of. They've done a whole bunch of the best remasters for sure. They're an amazing, super underrated.
I wonder how that works. Is it just like here's all our assets?
No,
make
it's
it better?
Basically like you right click and save as.
Oh yeah.
File save as and set resolution 1080p.
Bluepoint's really good at that.
Photoshop, some Photoshop filters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Maya scripts.
On the flip side of the
that's
coin,
a bummer. I really like Final Fantasy. I'd love to play that on like my phone or something.
Stop. Nope.
Well, I guess we didn't really need the segue.
You're 1 for 2. But yeah, so I
have Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on my phone. Yeah.
Square Enix, meanwhile,
that happens.
That's the roller coaster that is Destin Legary. Square Enix will be taking the opposite approach of Peter Moore. They, speaking in its annual report, Polygon reports from Square Enix's annual report, quote, "We will revitalize some of our strong IPs in ways that meet the needs of the modern gaming market. For example, we will take an IP developed for earlier generations of game consoles and recreate it for the latest consoles while also proactively developing versions for play on smart devices." So buckle up for the entire
They already have all the Final Fantasies on iPhone.
Yeah. So they've already been putting this into practice.
They don't have to play great because if you're playing it on iPhone, you weren't concerned with the quality in the first place. That's the way I look at it.
I mean, it's the newer versions of the game, so like the art style's better. It's just they use the analog thing where it's a touch analog, and that's the only problem I have with it. Otherwise, they're pretty solid ports.
I would love to point and click my way through Final Fantasy, but I don't want to faux joysticky.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that bugs me about them.
Yeah. I have like a hard rule against anything that has more than 2 directions of movement as a button on my touch screen, which is built so that I touch it,
not so that I push buttons on it.
Yeah,
I would rather. Can we instead invest the resources into have you played Hitman Go, Nathan?
Yeah, I love it.
It's amazing, right? Or Lara Croft Go.
I finally played Lara Croft Go.
I have it on my phone. I haven't had time to dive into it.
That's the kind of mobile experience I'm talking about. That's how you leverage your IP on mobile.
And again, that's Square Enix.
Yeah.
It's
That's also out of
Hitman Go is
Montreal,
one
by the
of
way.
the best iPhone games. Period.
It
Every
is
time
the
a new
best
chapter
iPhone
came
game
out
I've
and I
ever-
found it on my phone, I'm like, I'm playing this tonight.
Oh yeah,
You know.
a new board just drops for free. I'm like,
Yeah.
yep.
But I think that's. I mean, I think that's a super underutilized element of games in general, where publishers who have the biggest IP looking at them as. I'm gonna actually say as brands. I actually said it. I'm sorry, but like and
Get
thinking
out.
about
No,
like,
just kidding.
what other things can we do with this that will like be interesting to players? And like on paper, Hitman Go is not a home run, but it is a home run of like
When they tried to sell it
it's
with
a
the
design-
trailers, I was kind of like, what? Like, really? And then you play it, and you're just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it's
You know?
the home run is the effort that they put into it. The fact that they achieved is like all just up to how great of a studio. I mean, they're a really talented studio.
Square Enix Montreal.
Yeah, amazingly talented studio. But the fact that they even tried it, I think, is this like it's super interesting. And I think I would love to see more big game properties try to do like here's an interesting offshoot built for the platform on mobile, or here's an interesting offshoot built specifically for PC. I think there's a huge I'm just throwing ideas to people and hoping that they do it because
I wonder how Hitman Go happened. Like, do you think they were just making some game with those mechanics, and they're like, oh, you know who would work great for this? Hitman. And then inserted him into it? Or do you think they developed from the ground up with Hitman in mind?
I would suspect that they were tasked with make Hitman on mobile, judging from how good it turns out, my suspicion would be they were given creative free reign to do that however they saw fit, and somebody went, I've got an idea for this.
I bet you if you ask them, they will tell you.
Yeah,
probably.
They're a really cool group of folks there.
I'd love to
like them.
love to ask those guys.
Probably
Get them in
should.
here. Someone,
Ask Jean
you're
Vieg.
my producer. Get him in here, Sean Finnegan.
Hey, him too.
Yeah.
He's Canadian.
Tweet at Genevieve. She'll probably either answer in a hilarious joke or a picture of her dog or an actual answer.
All right. I would take any of those three. Sounds fine.
She's
A
super cool.
33% chance.
I just met her the other day at my birthday, by the way.
She's
nice girl.
She's the best.
Yeah, they're good people. I've met a couple of them at E3, but in any case, play Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go if you haven't already. They're
great.
They're the best things that you could do on mobile that are appealing to core gamers. All right.
You almost said real gamers.
I stopped myself.
Yes,
core.
I stopped myself because it would have been.
That was almost
disaster.
intense.
Yeah, no, it's.
I had to call you out on that. I apologize.
You're right to, but you'll notice I did stop myself.
You did. That's
before I realized. Wait, that's not.
You
accurate.
did the right thing.
I did. I hope.